Coming up on Arirang News. South Korea is in the grip of a brutal cold spell that has been continuing for days, with cold wave warnings in effect for most parts of the country. Heavy snow batters southern regions. Warm water streams out of North Korea's new nuclear reactor at Yongbyon facility, sparking concerns about nuclear weapons development. The IAEA nuclear watchdog says the operation would be a clear violation of UN Security Council resolutions. Iranian-backed Houthi militants' attacks on vessels sailing through the Red Sea intensified in a show of their support for the Palestinian group Hamas. The U.S. forms an international coalition of over 20 nations to defend the Red Sea shipping. Good evening. It's 9 p.m. here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us on Arirang News. We start with the Arctic cold snap that's gripping South Korea for days now. The whole country is suffering from the freezing temperatures under cold wave warnings, while the southern regions are blanketed in heavy snow. Our Yoon-hee leads us off.
Heavy snowfall across Jeju on Friday led to an 8-hour suspension of flights in and out of the island's international airport. Flights have since resumed, but Jeju Island expects 3 to 8 centimeters of snow until Saturday, while the summit of Hallasan Mountain has already recorded nearly 1 meter of accumulated snowfall so far. Accordingly, all trails on Hallasan Mountain will be completely restricted until Monday. Similarly, 3 to 8 centimeters of snow are forecast for the west coast regions of Jeollabuk-do Province, western Gwangju, and Jeollanam-do Province. Cold wave warnings are still in effect for most of the country. The capital, Seoul, saw the temperatures dipping to minus 13.8 degrees at one point. The last few days have been the coldest of this winter so far. The temperature on Friday afternoon was at minus 8 degrees Celsius. And with the wind chill, the temperatures will be even colder.
I've lived in Korea for over 10 years, and I think this is probably the coldest winter so far. So I've just been bundling up, wearing lots of layers. Yeah, I hope everyone is warm and healthy this holiday season.
Morning temperatures dropped to around minus 15 degrees Celsius in the Seoul metropolitan area and inland and mountainous areas of Gangwon-do Province, Chungcheongbuk-do Province, and northern regions of Gyeongsang-buk-do Province. The sudden temperature drop is causing a rise in cold-related illnesses and accidents. Since last Saturday, there have been 85 reported cases of temperature-related illnesses, and 1 person has died this month due to the extreme cold. Yoon-hee, Arirang News.
Moving on to North Korea. The United Nations nuclear watchdog spots warm water streaming out of the regime's new nuclear reactor at Yongbyon facility, sparking concerns about nuclear weapons development. It says the operation would be a clear violation of UN Security Council resolutions. Our Peunji reports.
A new reactor at North Korea's Yongbyon nuclear complex appears to be operating for the first time. That's according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, a UN nuclear watchdog based in Vienna. The Yongbyon nuclear complex is where North Korea has for years used its 5-megawatt nuclear reactor to produce plutonium for nuclear weapons. But the latest observations of warm water being discharged from a larger light water reactor suggest it too is in operation. The IAEA had earlier said that since mid-October, it had observed a strong water outflow from the light water reactor's cooling system, suggesting an ongoing commissioning of the reactor. The agency's Director General Rafael Grossi said in a statement on Thursday local time that more recent observations show that this water discharge is warm, indicating the reactor has reached criticality, meaning the nuclear chain reaction in the reactor is self-sustaining. He said this is concerning as a light water reactor, like any nuclear reactor, can produce plutonium in its irradiated fuel, which can be separated during reprocessing. But he added that without access to the facility, the IAEA cannot confirm its operational status. The agency's observations are made mostly using satellite imagery, as it has not had access to North Korea since Pyongyang expelled its inspectors in 2009. The IAEA chief stressed the construction and operation of the light water reactor is a violation of UN Security Council resolutions and said the advancement of North Korea's nuclear program is deeply regrettable. Pound, Arirang News.
Shifting gears, Iranian-backed Houthi militants' attacks on vessels sailing through the Red Sea intensify in a show of their support for the Palestinian group Hamas. The U.S. forms an international coalition of over 20 nations to defend the Red Sea shipping. Our An Sung-jin takes a closer look. As drone and missile attacks by Yemen-based Houthi militants continue against ships passing through the Red Sea and Suez Canal, more nations are joining efforts to protect the waterway. The U.S. Department of Defense announced on Thursday that more than 20 countries were now taking part in the U.S.-led coalition, Operation Prosperity Guardian.
All countries have the right to move freely and lawfully in international waters. But that foundational global right is under new threat today from the totally unacceptable attacks on merchant vessels by the Houthis in Yemen. We've launched Operation Prosperity Guardian.
The multinational force is to safeguard commercial traffic in the Red Sea from the Iran-backed rebel movement by providing vessels, staff, and other support. The crisis in the Red Sea grew over Houthi support of Palestine over the Israel-Hamas war. At least a dozen shipping lines have suspended use of the waterway that caters to some 10% of world trade. The coalition started with more than a dozen countries, including the UK, Canada, France, Italy, Norway, and others.
It is absolutely essential that those maritime corridors, that the free movement of ships, of goods, of manufacturers, of oil, of world trade, that they keep going. That is what Operation Prosperity Guardian is all about, and Britain is proud to take part in that.
The Pentagon noted that at least 8 countries refused to be named due to political sensitivity as regional tensions tightened over the Israel-Hamas war. Countries such as Saudi Arabia and the UAE declined to join over future relationships with Iran, and Australia refused to join, declaring that diplomacy was better than violence. Though South Korea did not explicitly state to join the coalition, it is looking at ways to contribute to protecting the sea route following the U.S.'s request. The Red Sea is a major trade route that connects Asia with Europe and North America via the Suez Canal. Instead of passing through the Red Sea and the Suez Canal, some container ships were diverted around the Cape of Good Hope, adding an extra 10 to 14 days to their trips. Currently, 158 vessels with approximately 2.1 million containers, worth $105 billion US, are changing their routes to alternatives. Logistics companies are looking to find alternative trade routes such as the Transcontinental Railroad or the Panama Canal, while carefully calculating the transportation time and cost as shipping costs sharply rise. An Sung-jin, Arirang News. In the Czech Republic, the country is reeling in the aftermath of a mass shooting spree that took the lives of more than a dozen people in Prague on Monday. Our Lee Eun-jin covers this tragic event.
The Philosophy Department building in Prague's Charles University on Thursday was the scene of the deadliest attack in modern Czech history. According to officials, 14 people were shot dead at the university and 25 others were injured, while warning that the death toll could rise. Prague's police chief also confirmed that the gunman was also dead. But due to devastating injuries, it is not yet clear if he killed himself or died while exchanging gunfire with officers. They also confirmed that there was nothing to suggest that he had an accomplice. The shooter legally owned several guns and was described as an excellent student with no prior criminal record. Police also believe the gunman killed his own father in his hometown just west of Prague before heading to the university. And later on Thursday, based on a search of the gunman's home, he is now also suspected of killing a man and a 2-month-old baby girl in Prague on December 15th. The Czech government declared Saturday, December 23rd, a national day of mourning to honor the victims. The Czech Interior Minister said that the shooting had no connection to international terrorism, while President Petr Pavel asked for respect for those killed.
I'm calling on everybody that they don't abuse this tragedy, that it's not abused politically, that it's not used to attack the police, that it's not used to spread misinformation. And this call is to everybody, to politicians, to the media, to citizens, to everybody who has access to social media, because we need, in a situation like this, is first and foremost is piety, restraint, and togetherness.
The building where the shooting took place is in Jan Pala Square, a busy tourist area in Prague's Old Town. Just a few minutes walk from the picturesque Old Town Square, a major tourist attraction where a popular Christmas market attracts thousands of visitors. Previously, the nation's worst mass shooting was in 2015 when a gunman opened fire in the southwestern town of Uerski Brod, killing 8 before fatally shooting himself. 이은진, Arirang News.
When it comes to public data, South Korea is a world leader. According to a biannual survey by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Korea ranked first in this regard among the world's 40 economies. The latest results were released on Friday, with the country scoring 0.91 out of 1, the highest overall among its OECD peers and twice as high as the OECD average, marking the 4th consecutive time it topped the rankings. Among the 3 evaluation indicators, Korea ranked first in government support for data use and came second in data availability and accessibility. The presidential office sees this as recognition of the South Korean government's strenuous efforts to promote active data sharing in order to foster key digital and bio industries, all the while protecting personal information. In other news, Beijing is prohibiting the export of rare earth metals processing technology, while Washington has announced it'll carry out a survey to identify U.S. firms' reliance on Chinese so-called legacy chips. South Korean officials say the situation will largely not affect South Korean companies for the time being. Our Park Gun-woo has the latest.
China has announced on Thursday that it'll ban the exports of technology used to extract and separate rare earth metals. According to Reuters, the ban was put in place to protect China's dominance over rare earth metals, as well as for reasons of national security, with Western countries, including the U.S., trying to launch their own operations. China's Commerce Ministry had been considering adding this processing technology to its catalog of technologies prohibited and restricted from export since last December. There are 17 rare earth metals that are used to produce electromagnets used in electric vehicles, wind turbines, and electronics, and China accounts for 70% of the global production. Production technology for rare earth metals and alloy materials, along with manufacturing tech for rare earth magnets, were also included in the export ban. On the same day, the U.S. Department of Commerce announced it would be surveying over 100 U.S. firms in sectors including automobiles, aerospace, and defense in January on how reliant they are on so-called legacy chips made in China. It added, the survey aims to reduce national security risks posed by Beijing and identify the use and sourcing of Chinese chips in the supply chains of major U.S. industries. U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said, addressing non-market actions by foreign governments that threaten the U.S. legacy chip supply chain is a matter of national security, adding, we've seen potential signs of concerning practices from China to expand their firm's legacy chip production and make it harder for U.S. companies to compete. The U.S. is also considering trading measures such as raising tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. Meanwhile, an official from Korea's industry ministry said the implications of the conflict between the U.S. and China are hard to predict. But he added, the ministry expects these will be minimal in the short term, as the country imports processed rare earth metals from China, and the U.S. has not announced measures to be taken after its survey. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
South Korea is focusing on efforts to grow its biomedical competency by 2027. Prime Minister Han Duck-soo said at the first meeting of a biomedical innovation committee that the government will seek to double industry exports, enhance technological capabilities, and foster 110,000 researchers and scientists by then. It also plans to invest 2 trillion Korean won, or around $1.54 billion in a decade-long R&D project scheduled for launch next year. Researchers will be collaborating with leading scientists worldwide to tackle major health-related tasks, such as vaccine development. South Korea is seeing a major respiratory syncytial
virus, or RSV outbreak, with those needing to be hospitalized doubling in the past month. The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency announced on Friday that the number of inpatients due to RSV during the third week of December amounted to 367, which is about twice the amount from the month before. Among them, more than 72% were children under 6, including newborns. RSV is one of the more common respiratory viruses that usually causes cold-like symptoms, but infants, older adults, or those with weak immune systems are more likely to develop severe symptoms. Paris Saint-Germain midfielder Kang-in and Bayern Munich defender Min-jae have been selected among the best 11 players in the French and German professional football leagues, respectively, by WhoScored.com. The football statistics website on Friday released lineups of the top 11 players in the French League One and German Bundesliga up to the current point in the 2023-2024 season to assemble a team of the season so far. PSG captain Kylian Mbappe and Bayern Munich striker Harry Kane were named in their respective leagues' best 11s. Seoul's Bukchon and Seochon hanuk villages are among the top highlights for tourists to the city. But it might be a little hard for you to see beyond the walls unless you're staying overnight in a hanuk. But now visitors can get a peek inside thanks to the new Public Hanok Lounges. Our Choi Soo-young invites to the real hanuk world.
Seoul is a place where tradition meets modernity. In Jongno-gu districts, Bukchon Hanok Village and Seochon Hanok Village, visitors can feel this distinct Korean vibe. And to allow visitors to see inside these traditional buildings, the villages have created Public Hanok Lounges. In the lounge of this traditional Korean house, you can experience how such a building is set up within the outer walls and also get information about tourist attractions nearby. While strolling through Bukchon Hanok Village, you can take a short break at Bukchon Lounge, which is open to the public for free. Even without an overnight stay, it allows visitors to explore the hidden interiors of hanuks and to experience the warmth of hanuk life, enjoying a Korean-style tea ceremony with delightful conversations.
And so, to be honest, we just kind of walked in, just like we're walking in all the different hanuks in this area. And this was an amazing, tea ceremony and a great kind of concierge service.
I think we like to go with the flow a lot, and sometimes it's like when you go with the flow when you travel, then you get lucky to experience and having a very unique experience. Yeah. And I think like this was definitely something that we will remember in our memories of Korea.
There is also a baggage storage service, and on Fridays, the lounges also offer a Korean language class. They are open from Tuesday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. While Bukchon Lounge introduces the tradition of hanuks, Seochon Lounge has a different charms, showing how hanuks can blend with modern lifestyles.
Here, not only Korean crafts but also Bauhaus-style furniture is on display, so people seem to be amazed and have fun thinking that, wow, the furniture can fit in a hanok like this way.
Visitors to Bukchon Lounge and Seochon Lounge can enjoy a delightful time sipping warm tea, experiencing the everyday life of Seoul's hanuks and learning about their values. Choi Soo-young, Arirang News.
Now, Christmas is just around the corner, and what adds to the festive mood more than the Christmas classic, the Nutcracker? The ballet piece that's performed worldwide at this time of year, and some say Christmas just wouldn't be the same without it. The production is over a century old, but several ballet companies have introduced some exciting changes this year. Our culture correspondent Song Yoo-jin reports.
The beloved holiday classic is back. Every year around Christmas, ballet companies from around the world present their take on Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker. This year, a number of ballet companies have infused a new flavor into this time-honored tradition. The Korean National Ballet and Universal Ballet, the two major ballet companies in Korea, have introduced new faces into the main roles, breaking away from the tradition of selecting principal dancers. Ballerina Chung Eun-ji joined the Korean National Ballet in 2021. From her first year, she was an understudy for the main character, Marie. Her debut on Wednesday marked her first time dancing in a leading role.
I still remember watching our company's version of the Nutcracker when I was a kid. This is a role I've always wanted to play. I'm happy and a bit nervous at the same time.
Universal Ballet's Yurim joined the company as a soloist after 7 years at the Hungarian National Ballet. She's playing Clara, another name for Marie. For her, it's a childhood dream come true.
I've danced in the Nutcracker before, but this experience with Universal Ballet is special. When I was young, I had the chance to perform as young Clara with the UBC. The ballerinas who shared the stage with me at that time have now become principal dancers, so preparing this piece with them was particularly meaningful.
Beyond Korea, the Boston Ballet, one of the 4 major ballet companies in the United States, has chosen all 5 of its Korean dancers to play the main roles in the Nutcracker. Among them is Han So-hae, the Boston Ballet's first Korean principal dancer, who's been with the company since 2012.
I'm the oldest among the Korean dancers, and I feel both nervous and excited when I see them perform. My sincere wish is for my younger colleagues to dance happily and healthily for a long time because they're so talented.
With its intricate choreography, dazzling set, beautiful scores, and fresh new faces, the Nutcracker continues to enchant audiences around the world and bringing the Christmas spirit. 송유진, Arirang News.
A live performance album of pianist Im Yoon-chan has been listed among the best classical music albums of this year by the New York Times. The album in question is remastered recording of his performance at the Van Cliburn International Piano Competition last year, during which he became the youngest winner of the prestigious competition at 18. The paper also acknowledged Im's infinite possibilities, depicting him as accomplished technically and refined musically.
As today is Dongji in the lunar calendar, the strongest cold wave has reached its peak this winter. With gusty winds getting stronger, the wind chill temperatures went down even further. This freezing cold wave will continue throughout the day tomorrow. Snow warnings are still in place on the west coast area of Jeollabuk-do province and Jeju Island, and heavy snow warnings are still issued on the west coast areas of Jeollanam-do and Chungcheongnam-do provinces. From now on, snowfall will be focused on the west coast parts of the Jeollado provinces and Jeju Island. As for the amount of snow, up to 30 centimeters are expected in mountainous areas of Jeju Island and more than 10 centimeters on the west coast area of Jeollado provinces. The snow on the west coast will mostly stop overnight, but Jeju Island will continue to see snow until tomorrow night. Please take extra precautions with any safety actions. Tomorrow, Seoul and Daejeon will start off at minus 12 degrees. Daily highs in Seoul will get up to minus 2 degrees, Gwangju and Daegu 2 degrees Celsius. On Sunday, Christmas Eve, there will be another round of snow across the country, and then temperatures will gradually rise to 2 degrees Celsius. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Well, that is all for this newscast. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 10 p.m. with the AI headline news. Hope everyone has a great weekend and a Merry Christmas.
Understated, yet harmonious and beautiful.
Growing tirelessly, but full of relaxation and romance.